Hello everybody. I'm going to start working on my June garden update. This will be middle of the month. It's June 13th. This is what everything's looking like. I just got done recording my sprinkler system test. And this is the lemon balm for mosquito repellent right by the patio. Wanted to show what the yard looks like mid-June. This is about as good as it will look because we quit getting rain and the sprinklers just won't be able to keep up as well as I'd like it to, but I can keep it alive. That's the main objective. Here's what this flower bed's looking like mid-June. And the jasmine continues to struggle back to life. We've got pretty full coverage right through here now. And pardon the new neighbors, they're quite noisy, but at least they're having a good time. So that's coming in slowly but certainly. Here's my perennial flower bed, which is doing well. It's got a few annuals in it, but it's mostly perennials. Here's my cucumbers, and then these horizontal rows are all okra. There's the little okra seedling. Got two tomato plants here, a row of black-eyed peas, and then I'm going to have some honeydew melons and cantaloupes here. This is a week later after I made that video about the garden mishap, which I put this grass clippings in that were heavily decaying and emitting a lot of gas. It burned these lower leaves on these black-eyed peas, but a week later you can't even tell that anything happened. Same thing on these sweet potatoes. They're just growing like crazy. It's that growing up that post. But these black-eyed peas love the hot weather. Not so much the grass. It really struggles in this part every season. But these are doing well. The okra's coming right along. I just planted in this row here with this post, say 5 cantaloupe hills and 5 honeydew melon hills. So I like cantaloupe and honeydew melon during the summertime. It's sure good. This okra here is a little bit behind, but it's doing its best. Just keeping it watered and keeping it growing. And I've been putting a little extra water on this little flower bed, and it's really come back alive during the last week. It's looking good. Try to keep this one looking pretty nice because it's right by the patio, and you know, it's nice to look out and see some nice flowers growing. And here is the view from the patio on a typical summer day. At least we got a breeze today, so it makes it tolerable. Not a bad day. Tomorrow is Father's Day, so kind of cleaning up and getting ready for that. I'm going to make some homemade ice cream later on today, and that should be good. So I just get to sit out here when I get done with everything and enjoy the fruits of my labor. This area here is still looking pretty decent. These aren't blooming quite as heavily as they have in years past, but they're still putting on a decent show. And this bed's finally starting to fill back in with summer flowers. My transplant is continuing to grow, so that's wonderful to see. And all these flowers here, these magenta colored flowers, all these came up volunteer from seed. So that's bonus. And then I've planted some sunflowers that are growing pretty fast. And over here some more sunflowers and some zinnias, because zinnias like the summertime. And not too much going on this side yet. Got a few little flowers starting to bloom, but this gets the south and west sun, so it just bakes. It's hard to get anything started this time of year. And now that the rain has stopped, you can see where the grass is greener. And here's what this bed's looking like today. My hibiscus is blooming very nicely, as well as my daylilies. And my lantana is just starting to bloom. And my butterfly flower mix seed are growing pretty well. My bee balm's not blooming yet. This Turk's cap needs to be tied back up. And looks like the foxgloves are about done all they're going to do for now. And I was trimming this quince, and I noticed this gladiolus blooming today. Didn't realize I had any yellow ones, but that's cool to see. And just an interesting note, this is what a carrot looks like when it starts going to seed. There's carrot blooms right there. So I just let that one plant grow just to see what it would do. So that's kind of interesting anyway. And of course, we got to mention the wildlife. Get right in there. Get a look at that. That is a Texas spiny lizard. Probably a yearling. It's not very big compared to what they get. This one's probably, with tail and all, 4 inches long. So it's got some growing to do. It's now June 29th, 2021, and we're going to wrap up the 2021 garden update. Not much to speak of on this side. And the English ivy's doing just fine like it always does. It's filling in pretty well since I took the hose up. Spreading in just fine. This little flower bed's still doing okay. The main part of the garden's doing pretty well. I've got some okra planted here. There's my sweet potatoes. And all these rows are black-eyed peas. And that one's still doing just fine. Here's the flower bed that gets no water or nothing done to it. And these 4 o'clocks are blooming pretty well. I used to have all different colors in here, but now I'm to the dark pink and the light pink. Here's how big my sunflowers have gotten. That one doesn't quite get enough sun. And it's as usual, I start a video and the wind starts blowing. Here's my tomato plants. They don't do too much during the hot weather. My asparagus plants are through the roof pretty much. Here's an earlier okra planting. These are getting pretty good size. And there's that other row of black-eyed peas. And here are a few more sunflowers. I let one carrot plant go to seeds. Just wanted to see what it looked like. That's carrot seed. And these are those same tomato plants. Here's my cucumbers. And I got some more okra planted in here. They're not growing too fast, but we've had some rain, so hopefully they'll catch up. And I'm getting this typical summer die-off like I do in this spot every year. It'll come back when the weather cools down. Look like nothing ever happened. Not too much going on in here. The hibiscus is blooming a little bit. Got a little bit more happening over here. Still got one spot here that hadn't filled back in, but all the rest is coming back in pretty well. Here's a look at the lawn from this side. Overall, looks pretty decent for this time of year. I can't complain about that. This bed here, I've got some seed coming up. Some zinnias right there. And just various flowers throughout. By the late summer, they should be blooming pretty well. Should look more like this here. And the yellow plant's still blooming a little bit, as well as this moss rose. This is about the same. Wouldn't hurt to put some fertilizer to it. This main flower bed's putting on a pretty good show. There's my firebush transplant. It's growing still. All kinds of stuff coming up in here. This should be really popping pretty good for the summer. Got some more sunflowers. Those are not supposed to be as big, but we'll see. And here's a look at the front lawn. It's doing pretty well. Showing a little bit of stress here and there from the heat, but it's hanging on pretty well right now. Can't complain. This little strip of grass is doing better than it ever has. It's usually got some bare spots by now from the heat. Got a little bit blooming up here. Not too bad. All these caladiums are coming in nicely now. So once again, this is my June 2021 garden update. Thank you for watching.